Viewer discretion is advised. The following content includes graphic imagery and mature themes.
This isn't for the weak. And yes, feelings will get hurt. So brace yourself. And welcome to the Hammer Drops. Hey, welcome to another episode. Happy Tuesday, folks. Time for your weekly dose of me. I know you guys have missed me. Last week's episode, as you saw, was one that I did with Cliff over there at Savagely Loud. I'm gonna let you guys know this right now. A little spoiler coming close. You're gonna want to this Thursday go check out that episode that he is going to drop. We did a little Thanksgiving special for y'all, and I'll be releasing that the following week on my show as well. But moving forward, I'm going to keep those shows that I do with Cliff and Savagely Loud just with him. And then I'm going to fill something else in for Thursdays. I'm going to be bringing Cliff over on my show as well. So you guys can get a nice dose of some savage conversation that me and him have quite often. So now don't forget to, you can find me all over social media. On Facebook, X, Instagram, all at The Hammer Drops. You can find me over on YouTube as well at The Hammer Drops. While you're there, don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, leave a review, because those, believe it or not, actually help to break those algorithms that bottle us up so much. So definitely do that. And while you're there, you can find a little link tree in the bio. And in that link tree, you're going to find all the other spots that you can see my content, because I'm going to start pretty soon where I'm only going to be releasing certain content on each platform. So you might go to TikTok and see something that you're not going to see over there on Instagram. Then you're going to go to Instagram and see something that you're not going to see over there on Facebook. So keep that in mind. Follow on all three of those platforms so you can stay up to date on all the fun, the Hammer Drops stuff that I do for you. All the nonsense that I do, I like to say sometimes, because people, they'll look at me like, that's a bunch of nonsense you're talking. It's like, well, if you actually did your fucking homework, you would realize it's not nonsense. But you want to live underneath a rock, that's okay. That's your business, not mine. So that link tree is going to take you to all the other social media. Plus, it's going to take you to two of the spots on, like, for Spotify and Apple Podcasts, two of the biggest platforms that you'll find the show. But I'm available on every platform, including TuneIn Radio, stuff like that. So definitely go check it out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, blah, blah, blah. So today, man, what a shit show we've been having lately. I think the first thing I want to touch on, and I know this is going to piss off some of my followers and some of you guys that listen that are Trump supporters. And I get it, but come on. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, the guy talked all of this shit about Mamdani before he became mayor and all that stuff. And I know, I get it. Being the president of the United States, you have to do things you may not want to do. But he seemed awfully friendly when he had him at the White House. It's like, you never have every fucking mayor come to the White House. Why him? Why did you have him come to the White House? After all the smack you talked about him being a communist, a socialist, not only, Muslim, and all the stuff that was coming out with the defund the police, free shit. You were talking about not giving them the federal aid that they would be supposed to get if they elected him, and yet you have him at the White House, and and this is all on the same day this whole MTG Marjorie Taylor Greene shit was going down. You have him there, you shake his hand, it's like you're buddy with him. Like, what the fuck is up with that? Like, and that's something I don't understand in society today. It's like, if you got a fucking problem with somebody and you voice that, like y'all did, I'm sorry, but if it was me, I'm not going to be nice. I don't fucking care. You cross that line with me, that's it. So I don't really understand how people just in general just like think that that's okay. Like that's just weird to me. Maybe it's just me. Let me know what you guys think. Email me at david@thehammerdrops.com. That's going to be the best way to get a hold of me. My DMs are filling up on Facebook and Instagram. It's a pain in the ass. If you want to get directly to me, email me. But I'd like to hear from you guys on this, because this has me a little concerned. Some of the things in this Trump administration that he's been doing has me really concerned. Just with Israel, now Mamdani, it's just like, what are you doing, Trump? And then you have a civil war, like a Republican civil war within MAGA going on. It's like, MTG, I know, and this is what makes me laugh about her. She resigning from Congress, and I'm fine with that. That's okay. But what I'm not fine with is like, okay, if you're going to resign from Congress, resign right now. Before you went into Congress, you had a net worth of like $700,000, and now just about coming out, you're like, you got a net worth of over 25 million. Don't tell me that that's all done and profited from businesses that you own, because I'm going to call you a fucking liar, because there's no fucking way in the short amount of time that you've been in Congress that you've increased business that dramatically. So I would call you out, and I'll call you a fucking liar to your face. But what has me, it's just weird with that whole MTG thing. She was Trump's biggest fucking supporter. And for some reason, she went on The View, she went on CNN, and I think that's where we should have seen the problem. And I'm not trying to cast shade to that, because, every news organization, if they're going to actually do the fucking news right, should, these people should have no problems going on these platforms. But just her actions lately. And it's funny because, she's going to resign, right? So the fact that she's going to resign, but yet she's making sure that she resigns a day after her federal pension kicks in. Sorry, I have an itch. So her federal pension is literally going to kick in the day after she resigns. It's like, well, if you got $25 million of net worth, why do you need that pension so bad? And then I also heard that she's going to run for president. She's thinking about it for the 2028 cycle. And it's like, listen, lady, you're kooky in fucking Congress. I mean, you had me scratching my head in some of the shit that you do, and I've seen some fucked up shit. And my head was scratching with some of the stupid shit you were saying and doing. And now you're going to, you honestly think you're going to win an election? That's not going to happen. You just resigned. You pretty much committed, unfortunately, political suicide, so to speak. I don't foresee seeing you anywhere in the spectrum of even Congress, Senate, or you will never touch the presidency. There's just no fucking way on that. And it's not because you're a woman, because I believe this country could be ready for a woman president. But, I just want to reiterate that right now, so I don't get fucking people in my DMs or emailing out. Well, what's your problem with women? I have no problem with women. Women can do things that men can do. Women can do, operate big business, obviously be in Congress, all that stuff. I have no problem with it. But as far as being a president, it's going to take a very unique and special woman, I believe, to ever probably come close. Unfortunately, because there's a lot of people in this country that may not see it that way. And it's just, So, I mean, we've had our first black president, which, well, we saw how that went. But that's for a different time. And cue the racist comments coming in. I'm waiting for those, just for that one fucking comment. So yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure we haven't heard the last of this Marjorie Taylor Greene shit, but I will say one thing on her side, I guess you can kind of say, is the fact that Trump started questioning her and calling her kooky and crazy or whatever when she decided that she wasn't going to, not sign the petition to release the Epstein, do a speedy thing to be able to release the Epstein files right away. So Trump got mad, which brings me to that. As far as the Epstein files go, folks, I mean, you're going to be looking at probably about tens of thousands of pages of redacted information. They're not going to release what you think they're going to release. Let's just be honest. But the fact that there was such pushback on the Republican Party for that originally, especially from the president, and 1 minute you have it, you got the documents, you got to look over them, according to Pam Bondi, and then the next minute, oh no, there's nothing, and then the next minute you release some, and then it's just back and forth bullshit. It's like, stop fucking lying to us. we know that there's something there. I think and I've said this before on the show, and I've said this on other shows as well, that I think we've lost track. Everybody wants these Epstein files. Why not go for the court documents? Because those court documents are going to have so much more information on them. And it's not going to be redacted. The only names that are going to be redacted in the court documents are probably the victims' names. They're not going to redact the people's names that are in there that did bad. People need to focus on that. Go for those court documents, and I guarantee you're going to get more answers than you can get from those Epstein files. I mean, there's just no way you're going to get the information that you want. But the fact that they were fighting it so much has raised my eyebrow, raised some fucking questions. Like, you don't need to be burying this shit if you have nothing to worry about. And I'm going to go on the record right now, and I'm going to say that if you're on that fucking list, I don't give a fuck if you're Trump. I don't give a fuck if you're Biden. I don't give a fuck if you're Clinton, whoever you are. If you're on that list, and I guess what they're finding, Pritzker, good old Governor Pritzker over here in Illinois, your brother has been mentioned a lot in a lot of these files. And I hope the Illinois people fucking realize that and pay attention, pay close fucking attention. Don't pick out what you want to fucking pick out to fill your fucking narrative. If somebody that you support, that you voted for is on that fucking list, own it and make sure they own it. Okay. I'm better now. But seriously, if you had nothing to hide, you wouldn't be trying to bury it. So again, if Trump is in fact in there for something, then yeah, I feel that he should be held to the full extent of the law, because in this country and in civilization, there is no room for fucking pedophiles. If you're a fucking pedophile, only good pedophile is a dead pedophile. And I will fucking say that till the day I die. You fucking, and that's the problem. Most pedophiles, unfortunately, are white folks. White folks seem to have an issue with being pedophiles or fucking meth addicts. I don't fucking understand it. Like, I know every race has their problems, but it's like, I'm just scratching my head. Like, white people? Seriously? Like, what's your attraction to kids? It just blows my mind. Like, kids, if you look at a kid like that, you need to be shot in the fucking head. Plain and simple. Let's just leave it at that. So, we're going to skate away from that topic now. Well, let's get on to our next stuff, right? If you haven't been paying attention, in New York, I have a lot of listeners there, and I want you to pay close attention to this, because we're going to talk about Dearborn, Michigan right now, and the shit show that's going on there. You can go on to TikTok and see so many fucking videos on what's happening over, in Dearborn, Michigan, and this is what's going to happen when you have a city run by Muslims and Muslims that want to have Sharia law. What's going on in Dearborn, Michigan right now is going to happen in New York City. There's no ifs, ands, buts. It's just a matter of when. And it's funny because the citizens of Dearborn, Michigan have called on the aid of bikers to come to Dearborn, Michigan to help, because unfortunately, the police in Dearborn, Michigan are compromised. They follow the laws of what their mayor, good old Muslim boy over there, wants. There's been reports of a journalist who got jumped, hit, and all that stuff, and the police were saying to him that they can't that he wasn't able to leave his post. And not even 15 minutes later, he was in a parking lot on a personal phone call, instead of going to get the perpetrator that broke this guy's phone and all this shit. And when he went up, and you can look it up on TikTok, you can probably find it on Instagram and Facebook as well. I may have shared it over there on my Instagram, so go check it out over there. And this guy, he's confronting the city council on it, and the mayor just was so smug about it. It's like, and the mayor there has said pretty much he doesn't care about, it's not about a melting pot for him. It's about basically him, their religion, and that's it. Christians there, all that stuff, whatever. I know, unfortunately, there's a lot of rhetoric that's out on social media right now about anything and everything. So it's so hard to figure out what's the truth, what's not AI. Unfortunately, AI, I think, is going to be a big problem for us moving forward. But I think it's just a startup for Project Bluebeam, but we'll do a show on Project Bluebeam at another time. But I really don't think the residents of Dearborn, Michigan know exactly what they asked for. See, the typical biker, and I speak from experience because I'm a biker, okay? What we like to do, we like to ride our motorcycles, all right? We don't like to be fucked with. We don't like to deal with bullshit. We go out, we ride, we do benefits to help people. Now, you guys are asking for people that like to be, that try to be peaceful, but we can, in fact, if it comes to it, we have no problems going the other direction. So you're asking for a bunch of bikers to stop what they're doing and come to Dearborn, Michigan and help. And I've seen some videos where they plan on, they're going to ride through and I think it's kind of funny. They're going to hook up girls to the back of their bikes while cooking pork. I thought that was fucking funny as fuck when I saw it, but you can find a lot of videos on this stuff that's going on there. And I saw one of the convoys for the bikes, for the motorcycles that are going. It was pretty fucking big. But what I want to reiterate is you're asking these bikers to come, wear your colors, and, by colors are, I mean, a lot of people, you may not know it, but colors are like the patches that they're, the clubs that they're with. Those are colors. Those are, they're very proud of those. And you're asking for those kind of, bikers as well to come. See, here's the thing. These guys, they don't fuck around. And, I want you to realize this, that they don't fuck around. And I've always been a firm believer that when you're in a 1% club, yeah, you're in a 1% club, but out of that whole club, there's a certain percentage that actually do the 1% shit. You know what I'm saying? But those motherfuckers are the people you definitely don't want to fuck with. So it could turn into a real big shit show over there in Dearborn, Michigan if this all happens. There's already talks, if it does, that the National Guard will, the governor there will call in the National Guard to go into Dearborn. And I'm just kind of curious to where the National Guard is going to lie with this. Are they going to stand up for the American citizen? I.e. the bikers, because all of Dearborn, Michigan are just a bunch of, for the most part, just a bunch of Muslims that are here on visas and stuff like that, from what I understand. So are you going to have the American citizens back? Or are you going to have the Muslims back? So that's going to be an interesting thing to see what happens and how much that escalates. And that could be very bad. But I want you also to realize something. All this shit's happening for a reason. Our government wants things to get bad. They really do. At some points, I honestly think that our government wants us to go into a civil war with each other. Because once we do that, that is when our government can come in, declare martial law, and start taking our guns, start taking away that Second Amendment right. And this country right now is on the brink of that. And I understand there's a lot of things that have happened, and a lot of people are upset about a lot of the things that are happening. And y'all have a right to be. But we cannot cross that line. Our government is here to divide us. If you don't understand that, if you don't see it, I don't know what to fucking tell you. You need to wake up. There's so much propaganda that's being spewed all over social media. I don't care if it's from TikTok to X. There's a shit ton of propaganda on both sides of the aisle. So I understand how hard it is to decipher the fucking truth, because even big tech is in on it. It's there to do this for a fucking reason, guys. And right now, us as a society, we are allowing this to continue to happen and for them to win. Because remember what happened in the Revolutionary War. It took 3% of the population to overthrow the monarchy. And that is what our government is afraid of. That 3% rising up, because that 3% can overthrow a government. And that's what they're afraid of. See, the Republicans talk a big talk about the swamp that's in D.C., but, let's be honest, folks. Republicans are in that swamp as well as the Democrats are, as well as independents. Bottom line is, guys, our government's not here to be nice to us. Once they tried this out with COVID, they tried the, stay at home, wear a mask. And unfortunately for us as a nation, as a society, too many of you dumb motherfuckers fell for it. Too many of you. You all went out when they said, go get the jab, you got the fucking jab. They told you to go get your fucking booster shot. You went and got the booster shot. Were you still getting sick? Of course you were, because that was meant to happen. Did you develop cancer? Well, that was meant to happen as well. But they ran the test. They figured out it won. And it's just a matter of time before the next one comes. And the next one can literally probably take us out. Our sovereign nation that we have now is in jeopardy more than what you all want to realize. But instead, we are at each other's throats over what side of the aisle you're on. Let's be honest. The government shutdown happened. And what did they do? We all thought they were going to release, they wanted a clean, CR. They wanted a clean one. Did we get one? No, we didn't. What we got was the CR that they've been running on for the past, 14 months or whatever the fuck it is. However, they've been running on this CR for so goddamn long. And then what do? They put in for a ban on hemp that can literally kill a $1 billion industry. Now, I've heard different sides of this, and I have to look at it from different angles. And I agree with a lot of the things I've heard. I think that industry should be regulated just like the marijuana industry should. There's no ifs, ands, buts about that. If, you're doing and selling hemp because, you don't have to pay those tens of thousands of dollars to get a license to be able to sell these things like a dispensary does, then, maybe you shouldn't be selling it. Because unfortunately, a lot of this stuff that's being sold, like of the Delta 9 and whatever else in those vapes, are just dirty as fuck. And just getting people hooked for more and more and more. I mean, we got one where I live. We got a little fucking, Hindu hut that sells this shit, and it's like, that's where they make all their money because people get hooked on it and people keep coming back for more. And I think that might be part of the thing that they're trying to stop. But I also think there are companies out there that have, the right thing in mind. I'm not saying all the companies or all these businesses that are selling this shit is bad, because they're not. I mean, there's some out there that literally want to try to help people as an alternative to big pharma. And I'm all for that. But on the same aspect, if there's dues you have to pay, so to speak, you need to pay them. Become legitimate. Regulate the hell. Let them regulate the industry. And I think that's part of the problem why the government did what they did, because they weren't able to regulate it. They weren't regulating it, so the government wasn't getting their money. So the government got pissed like a fucking 5-year-old kid and started stomping around and said, oh, we're going to ban it. Instead of being like, well, we need to have some, come to the table and have some regulations on this, and then come back with something a little bit not as harsh as a ban. But I mean, come on, again, folks, our government doesn't want you to, the American way of life that we all grew up to know, like, you can make it in this country, buy a house, buy a car, own a business, all that shit. They don't want business owners. They want corporations. Corporations, and run hand in hand with our politicians with all the kickbacks. So, yeah. And for those of you that are bitching and moaning about grocery prices, I want to throw this out here real quick, because this one's been eating at me. You all want to blame the presidents of the United States or our politicians for the prices that we're paying at the grocery store. And I understand, because it's easy to blame. But here's the cold-hearted truth. Yeah, the president can do certain things, like energy production, which Joe Biden wasn't doing, hence caused everything to go up in price, okay? Where Trump right now is trying to create more energy, which should lower the price of the pump, which should effectively we should start seeing it coming down and trickling down to products that we buy in a store. But here's the caveat to that. So Trump's doing that. Trump's creating more energy, where Biden wasn't. But if you think that's going to change the prices at the store, I think you're sadly mistaken. And here's the thing. We started paying those prices back, during the COVID era and continue to pay those prices. So those corporations know that we will pay those prices for these products. So what's the point of them dropping their prices? I mean, is there a fucking point for them to drop their prices at this point? You've literally been paying the same price for a thing of eggs. Let's just take eggs, because that seems to be a big thing for everybody. So eggs right now, I think organic eggs are, like $6 right now, $6 to $8 or whatever. And I think there were upwards right around that. I mean, I think it's been the same price for a while now, but even back in the day, I mean, it was like $2 cheaper. It was like $4, $4 or $5, whatever for organic eggs. Okay. So we've been paying this price for those eggs for how many years now? So the corporations that are selling these farms that are selling these eggs, there's no reason for them to drop their prices and lose money. Why would a business want to drop their prices and lose money when we're still paying the money that we've been paying this whole fucking time? They're not going to do it. So if you want to protest things, you need to protest the companies like Walmart, Meijer, Pick and Saves, stuff like that for their high prices. Force the company to drop their prices, and then you might actually get somewhere. You're not going to really get anywhere by bitching and moaning about our politicians not doing it or regulating it, because they really can't regulate it. The only thing they can do is what I just said, is by creating more energy. Lowering the gas prices are going to, it's a domino effect. That's how things should start coming down. But unfortunately, they're not. But hey, in the state of Illinois, Governor Pritzker, fat ass himself, they took away that sales tax on groceries for the state level. So we're saving a whole 1%. And as that 1% you're saving is sure coming back on that gas tax that keeps rising every year, the property taxes that keep on rising every year, and, the cost of illegals, keeps coming out of our pockets every fucking year. And, of course, the state of Illinois is revving up fucking, audits on taxes. So if you're getting audited, and I want to hear from you, okay? So to any of my listeners that live in Illinois, if you've been audited or starting to get an audit by Illinois State for state taxes, I want to hear from you. Email me at david@thehammerdrops.com. I want to hear your story, because I've been hearing a lot of people have been getting audited. And here's the problem. When you get audited by the state of Illinois, they already have a number in their fucking head. It doesn't matter how much information you have that you give to them. They have a number in their head, a number that they want, and they're going to fucking get it. And they'll look at you flat in the face, and I've heard this, and basically whatever information you hand them to them, even if it's in that time frame that, and you have it documented, they'll be like, oh, well, no. They'll find something that they can be like, no, we can't accept that, to force that dollar amount that they need. And I've been hearing that's been going on a lot in Illinois, and I want to hear from you if you're one of those people, because I would like to have you on the show and talk to you about this, because I think that topic definitely needs to come to light a little bit more, and people in Illinois need to know what the fuck's going on. So come next election cycle, we can get, I'm not saying wipe out all the Democrats with Republicans or replace them with Republicans, but maybe a better balance in Senate and the House, and get Pritzker the fuck out. And Fat Boy himself thinks he can run for president with Gavin Newsom. Good luck, guys. Neither one of you motherfuckers are ever going to touch that house, because the people in the nation have seen what you have done with your respected states, and you've completely fucked them. I mean, Chicago's so good that, Mayor Johnson down there says, oh, Chicago's so safe, but yet they were just doing a tree lighting ceremony or whatever over the weekend. Cops, a lot of people there, cops, everything. And what happens? Like, they have a shooting there. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? You're trying to do family shit. You're trying to, watch a ceremony that's been going on for a very long time. And now you have to worry about being shot because these fucking idiots from these stupid ass fucking South Side and West Side decide that they want to come up and do whatever. Or how about that fucking white lady that got fucking torched alive on the seat on the trains down there by a convicted felon. He had like 48 fucking like accounts on him. But Chicago's safe because you guys keep releasing fucking people from jail. I guess that's just the way that they do it. So thank God I don't live in Chicago. Thank God I don't fucking work in Chicago anymore. Ugh. Chicago's not safe, folks. Don't let them fucking tell you otherwise. It's not safe. Coming from somebody that lives in Illinois, Chicago's a shithole. It is not safe at all. I mean, it could be broad daylight, and if you're in the wrong fucking neighborhood and don't have the right skin color, you're going to get shot. So I would stay out of Chicago. Stop fucking giving your money to that fucking city. They're a fucking lost cause. On that note, I think that's a good place to end this show today. My little tyrant of Chicago right there. My tyrant, whatever. So now, folks, don't forget when you're watching this, if you're watching this over on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to that channel. Give it a like, give it a comment. Let me know how you guys feel about that episode over there on YouTube. For all the podcast platforms, don't forget to leave a review because it does help. And don't forget to follow me over there on social media, heavily active on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at the Hammer Drops. And in the bio, there is a link tree that's in there that will take you to all the other spots that you can see my lovely face, see my content, and all that fun stuff. And guys, Thursday, Thanksgiving. I don't give a fuck if you're with your family. They're going to probably be watching football anyways. Go to the Savagely Loud podcast and listen to our Thanksgiving special. You will not be disappointed at all. All right, guys. We'll see you guys Thursday. Have a great day and have a great fucking Thanksgiving.